Okay. Hey, everyone. So it's Adina here from the Finance, Business, and Purpose podcast, as well as Immigrant Finance. And today's episode is about the three core elements of how to start an online business. And I was actually going to talk about a different topic for this week, but I was doing a coaching call with one of our students and walking her through this kind of simple framework and realized I hadn't shared this on the podcast for a while, and it might be helpful for people to hear because I know a lot of people we talk to are considering starting businesses or side hustles and want to do it online, given the flexibility that having an online business offers. You can operate it from anywhere in the world. The startup costs are very low. You don't have to go and rent space or pay for electricity, right? There's a lot of really amazing free tools and resources that can allow you to get started with your online business for free, like social media and LinkedIn and networking with your community. So it's a great resource. And for those of you who we work with on finances, or thinking about strengthening your finances, or it's just something you have been studying on your own, you may have heard me talk about before, and you may have been coming to the conclusion yourself that at the end of the day, after you really start to learn to manage money and build systems for managing your money, and things like learning how to budget and improve your credit score and start investing, things like that, at a certain point there is only so much more you can do to improve your financial situation without increasing income, without learning how to generate income on your own. So starting a business, even just as a side hustle, is a really important thing to do to build that skill of learning how to generate income on your own and learning how to leverage your unique gifts and talents with the world to share what you're naturally good at, what comes effortlessly to you, to be able to help others and get paid for your time and value doing that. So a lot of folks we work with are totally new to business, just like we were when we started our journey with Immigrant Finance, and have no idea what goes into that. So I have done a lot of studying in this topic over the years, worked with a lot of mentors, done a lot of courses, worked with coaches, and there's a lot to learn, but most complicated things, sorry, there's like a fly. Woo! Anyone watching me on video? Oh my God, this is crazy. Okay, this fly just like flew past me. I got distracted. So yeah, I was gonna say a lot of complicated things end up being more simple than we think. And usually the wisdom is in finding the simple, what it boils down to. So let's just talk about that, what that means starting an online business, to look at it in a really simple way. And essentially, what are the three core elements that you need to start an online business? A lot of what I'm going to say actually applies to any business, but I'll talk about it in the context of starting an online business, since that's what I know, right? Given that we have an online business with Immigrant Finance, and just kind of lay it out so you can begin thinking about, if you want to start a side hustle or business, whatever it is, what pieces need to go into that? What are essentially the ingredients that are going to help you put that into shape, that will help you go from having it just be this vague idea of something you're interested in, something you would like to do someday, to something that you can start to build some contours around, to start to see practically what that might look like and what you need to be thinking about and what areas you want to make sure you don't ignore, right? Because it's so easy to pay attention to just like one of these three things I'm going to talk about, or maybe even two, but then miss the third. And we really need to be thinking about all three elements when building an online business, so that you're building your business structurally in a sustainable way, that's going to be self-sustaining at some point, that's going to set you up for success that's going to set you on a path where you can grow it and scale it over time. So the three elements are building an offer is number one, two is visibility, and three is sales. So I'll talk about each for a little bit, just give a little like quick overview, what that kind of means, what that looks like in online business, what are some things to think about. And then I'll give you a couple other things you want to think about at the end too, that really are also important with starting an online business, especially if you want to be starting an online business that has a social impact element, that is working toward a larger mission, toward a larger cause, since that's really been my approach and focus on online business. So, okay, first the offer. So you can also think of offer in terms of like product. I just prefer the term offer. Either one works, whatever resonates for you. And what this is you essentially need something to sell in a business, right? You need an actual thing you're selling. A lot of people miss this, especially in the online world, and they just kind of think or just sort of told like, oh, if you just grow a big following, you'll make all this money someday. So like if you have 10,000 followers, you're going to be rich, right? It doesn't work that way. There's plenty of people out there who have tens and tens of thousands of followers and they're not making any money, right? And it's not actually a business because they don't have a strategy behind that. They haven't figured out how to actually monetize the value that they have to offer, right, for an exchange to help people. And we need to have an offer in a business or else it's not a business, right? Then it just really is like a hobby, which is perfectly fine if that's what you want to have. Just don't get confused because it's so easy to kind of like think you're starting a business, but there's not really a clear plan of what you're offering or what you're going to sell at some point. And then you just start doing all this marketing and it's very exhausting because you're not making any money. You're essentially doing free labor. And then it's like all this time is going into like social media and maybe even a podcast and all of this marketing stuff. But you're not actually bringing in money, right? And then it's just becomes a really expensive hobby because it costs definitely time to do all that, which is our most precious resource, right? Time is the one resource we'll never get back, right? Money, we can always make more money. We can never get our time back. It can also cost a lot of money, right? It can be expensive to run a whole online presence, especially if you like have an assistant or a virtual assistant, someone helping you out, someone helping edit your videos, whatever it is. If you're using software systems, right? If you have an email list you're building, that all costs money. So if you don't have an offer to sell, right, it's just an expensive hobby. And in terms of what that offer can look like, there's lots of different options. The quintessential example in the online world is an online course or providing coaching, right? You see that really commonly in the online space. And online courses are great types of offers to have because you can really leverage your time, right? Instead of like trading time for money to make money where every hour, every dollar you make, you have to work time to make that dollar. Like instead with something like an online course, you can create it once and then just like keep sharing it with the world and selling it, and it just continues to make money. Obviously you want to be improving it over time, like always refining it, incorporating feedback, but it's not as labor intensive once the bulk of it is done compared to doing like, for example, one-on-one coaching. That being said, like one-on-one coaching or group coaching or other types of offers that are amazing. I myself love doing coaching. I do one-on-one and group coaching, and that is an awesome way to work really closely with people and help them get a transformation, right? Give them that customized one-on-one support, right? And that's an offer too. So you can do a combination of all these things. There's also things like selling, physical items like t-shirt designs you make, right? Or whatever it is, art, all types of offers out there, workshops, trainings, there's lots of options there. Okay, the second element that we wanted to talk about with how to start an online business is visibility. Another word for this is marketing. I'm pretty much talking about the same thing as marketing, But this idea with visibility is just getting your stuff out there, getting you and your business out there so that people know what you're doing and know about your offer, right? If you have this incredible life-changing offer that's going to transform people's lives, but no one knows about it, right? Because you're not being visible, it's going to be really hard to help people and actually have people learn about it. It's also going to be really hard to make money in the business. And at the end of the day, again, a business has to make money to survive, or else it just becomes an expensive hobby or even a liability that causes debt, right? So it's part of like the survival and sustainability of the business to be visible, get the word out there about your work, share what you're doing, you know, let people know about how you can help them, share your story. Like there's tons of stuff we can talk about with visibility, but this can look like, video, going live on Instagram like I'm doing now as recording, or on Facebook or LinkedIn or YouTube, posting the replay after on any of those platforms, particularly YouTube with like search engine optimization is a great way to continue to have visibility over time after you create a video. And then there's visibility with like social media posts, blog posts, you name it. There's so many options like media, traditional media, PR, Google search engine optimization. There's tons of ways to get, just to have visibility in your business and let people know about who you are, how you can help them, what you're all about, how you understand what they might be going through if you've gone through it yourself, like talking about the problem you help people with, providing education about that. This is also a really great way, particularly for social impact businesses, to help people who might not be able to afford to work with you by providing some free education, right? That like, of course, there's a strategic reason you're doing it. It's not just volunteer work, right? Like it's part of your business marketing, but you can really help a lot of people in your free content, people that you might not ever even have the capacity to work with as a client, right? As a student, whatever it is, by just sharing your free content, by being more visible. And then what that's going to do is, in addition to being from a place of service and helping provide this free information, education that can help people, is it's also going to attract and help you connect with the people who are the right ones for you to work with, right? And we're not meant to work with everybody, right? So it's really about like getting yourself out there so that you can find and connect with those people who you are meant to help with, who you can help make a difference in their lives, right? And they might not know about you if you don't ever show up and be visible. Podcasting is another way about being visible. I should also mention, great way too if you're not very comfortable with video. I know podcasting has been really fun for me over the years, especially as I've had my own fears around visibility with video I've worked through off and on over the years. If you want to hear more about that, I have a whole episode on fear on visibility several episodes back. I want to say it was in fall of 2022 if you want to search for it. I'll put the link in the show notes for the podcast episode. So, okay, those are our first the three elements: the offer and visibility. And then what is the third? The third is sales. So again, back to this idea of a business has to actually make money, right? Or else it's an expensive hobby, right? And so how do businesses make money? Well, they sell their offer, going back to that first core element, right? And this is like a whole topic in itself. I have to do some more episodes about, but sales has, for most people, and like bad taste in their mouth that it puts it, there's like an ickiness with sales because a lot of the sales is done really poorly and really unethically, right? And can involve manipulation and just not be done well. But like the true art of sales, which I have had to really study over the years because I knew nothing about sales. I mean, I'm someone who has worked in nonprofits my entire career, like 15 years. I had no idea what this was and had a very bad relationship with the concept. Like I had to learn over the years that essentially like good like the art of like good sales is highly ethical. It's about simply serving and helping people from a place of integrity, like not ever trying to force anyone or manipulate or coerce anyone into anything, but really, again, coming from a place of service where you can share, how you can help people, right? If they are experiencing a challenge or a problem that you might be able to help with, and presenting a solution, and then respecting people as adults, as it's their decision. It's on them whether they want help with that thing, and it's that simple. And like some people you're meant to help, some people you're not. It's not a big deal, right? A lot of the other stuff around sales is all like kind of money mindset stuff. Like we have so many negative stories about money I could talk about forever that have been ingrained in us, into society. A lot of it is about how like wanting money is bad or greedy, and like even misinterpretations of the Bible about money. So all of the kind of ickiness of sales is like the story about money and the narratives around that if we kind of take away all of that and just boil it down to the simple, like what it is, it's just exchanging value, right? And so a lot of it, when you get into this work really deeply, is about like learning self-worth, right? And learning that like if you're giving like your time and energy and years of experience, right? Like you deserve to be compensated for that, right? And there has to be an equal exchange of value. Like the value you're giving the other person, right, is incredible, and like what they're going to give in exchange in terms of money is how they compensate to make that a fair exchange of value. And again, it's not anything more than that, really. So if this is something that's of interest to you, that you want to hear more about, let me know. I can definitely talk about this stuff more. There's a lot of topics to talk about. But those are the three core elements to think about if you want to start an online business. A couple other things I'll just name to have in mind as well is definitely like people, right? So at the end of the day, it's about people. Like it's not about making money. Again, I talked about how, business does have to make money to survive, or else it's an expensive hobby and all that. But at the end of the day, you're doing this to help people, especially if it's a social impact oriented business. And so you're doing it, to want to help others and serve. And that is like a place of high integrity that the best businesses come from. And a lot of the most successful businesses are coming from that place where they have a mission, they're here to serve. So I was going to mention the framework that we use in our social impact online business accelerator program called Illuminate Digital, where we go a lot more in depth into all these concepts. And we have what we call our 4P proprietary framework to kind of drill into this a little bit more, draw out these concepts. So the first is like purpose. So of the 4Ps, we have purpose, right? You have to get clear on like what your purpose is and why you're here, and your business being created from that place. And then also learning like the boundaries and the balance of how to do the whole having a business thing and life thing, especially if you have a 9-to-5 job, right? And a profession as well that you're juggling with all this, and a family. Like all of that stuff is a huge part of starting a business that we haven't talked about yet in the 3 elements today that I just wanted to name. Then there's the people I started mentioning, right? Like really getting clear on who you're meant to serve, like how your own life experiences and challenges and your own story, and ultimately like your journey has led you to who are these people that you're meant to help with based on your experiences, like from your life. Who are the people you're meant to help in your business? Oftentimes they're like a former version of ourselves, or something we were figuring out maybe even just like 2 years ago that we really struggled with, that we've been able to learn from. And maybe we haven't figured it out all the way, but we might have some guidance, or have an idea of what we would do differently next time. that we can provide guidance to others about. The next P in the 4P framework is profits, right? So that's kind of when we get into the visibility and sales, or marketing and sales. That's I mentioned is one of the 3 core elements of starting a business. And then 4th is processes, or systems. You can think of it as systems. So we have purpose, people, profits, processes is the way I teach online business development, from the social impact lens. And processes are so important, but that really comes later. So you can kind of put a pin in that. First, we got to get started with like, what is your purpose? What's your offer? Let's get visible. Let's like start learning some sales skills, right? Let's get clear on who we're helping, like the systems and processes we need later, so that it's not a mess, right? Because it can get like really, really messy if you're not organized with starting an online business. And especially like if it's just you doing it, right? You're going to be doing all the things, especially the first year. You're going to be wearing all the roles of what would be like a whole team in the business potentially at the starting out phase. So developing processes and systems from the beginning can be a really effective way to automate things, to streamline things from the beginning, so that as your business grows, it's not a total dumpster fire and you can like sort of have some some clarity in the chaos if it were. So that's some guidance for you today about the 3 elements: how to start an online business, offer, visibility, and sales, and then thinking about some of these other pieces I mentioned under our 4P framework: purpose, people, profits, processes. If this is something that you would like to learn more about, or you're feeling ready to get started with building your own online business, would love to connect with you, hear more about what you're thinking, hear about what your struggles are at the moment. And you can apply to actually join our Illuminate Digital Social Impact Online Business Accelerator program at illuminatedigitalaaccelerator.com. I will put the link in the show notes below, and that will have you set up a call where we can connect and chat more. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. As always, your feedback is so valued. So let me know what you think, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.